Wow, we are wrapping up another week of broadcasts. The fourth complete week of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. Debbie, good morning. And for those past on the Eastern time or later, good afternoon to them. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend, and I'm certainly looking forward to just a vibrant discussion today about mall people.
People.
Yes.
People.
Mall. Yes. Everybody's. What is that? MALL. Mall, like shopping mall. You ready?
You know, here, this is fun. I just have to say this before that. You know, so many times I think of the mall. When I think of the mall, I think of MAUL because there's so many people and the crush, especially at the holidays. I consider we're going to the mall. You know, you just go to get mauled if you got to pick up a couple things. But anyway, I want to invite our listeners to call. Then Debbie set up the topic for our listeners today. So pay attention. Debbie is going to tell you who mall people are. You'll be able to say if you are one, if you've seen them, and call in with your take. The number is 1-800-585-9396. 1-800-585-9396. You can also post on our Facebook page or email us at take2 at EWTN.com. So, Debbie, the suspense has been killing me and our listeners all week.
I'm sorry for that lesson in patience, Jerry. I saw your post on take2show.com and I replied to it. But here we go. The wait is over. First of all, today's topic, dear listeners, it all revolves around people watching, which actually is a common pastime. If you internet search it, you will see that artists and musicians and writers all involve themselves in the observation of people and people watching, because you can learn certain really key insights into human behavior, which are invaluable. So, okay, the wait is over. I want to share from a personal experience briefly on how my husband and I came up with the term mall people. First of all, keep this in mind. I believe every time we are engaging in public, it's an opportunity to evangelize, like we shared earlier, Jerry, on an earlier show, and to be a Christian witness and an example of God's love. So also, I feel that life is a gift, and wasted time with others is just that, wasted time. So here goes. Now, remember, if you're a people watcher, start calling in, because I know after I share, you're going to want to share your take on this at 1-800-585-9396. It was a Saturday morning. My husband and I went to the local mall. This is a true story. And my husband and I decided to go have breakfast and maybe do a little window shopping or maybe a little shopping. And the breakfast place was attached to the mall. So we went in and it was packed. It was a people. Next to us was an older couple, and it looked like they've been married for a long time. The wife had a small gold cross necklace on, and she was talking away at her husband, trying to get his attention. And he rarely looked up from his bowl of oatmeal. And when he was finished, he began reading the newspaper, which was even worse because he had to, scrunch down the newspaper to look over the newspaper to catch a glimpse of his wife talking. And my husband and I, we both felt very sad for her. Now, granted, we're not trying to judge or really assume anything. This is just an observation of human behavior. And so maybe she was used to his manners. So maybe it was just common practice between them. But as an example to others, when they were out in public, if kids were looking at that and seeing an older couple married, I mean, that doesn't look very joyous. In fact, they looked distant and annoyed and, you name it. So again, this isn't a criticism of behavior in life. It's just an observation. But keep in mind that a snapshot of a person's life can tell a lot. I mean, look at Facebook. Facebook is a form of people watching. Anyway, so to wrap this up, okay, so set the stage, start calling in 1-800-585-9396. We watched this couple for 30 minutes, Jerry, and then we began looking at all the other tables around us. We saw young couples arguing. We saw families with kids and everybody texting and with cell phones and very distracted. And then we saw the absolute jewel in the midst of it all. We saw a young dad, and he didn't have a wedding ring on. And he had his 9-year-old, I'm guessing, 9-year-old son and 5-year-old daughter with him. And we could hear this little girl say to her dad, "Dad, did you miss me all week?" As she jumped into his lap for a hug. She was very clingy. Now, 5-year-olds can be that way, but she kept hugging and touching and grabbing onto her dad. This young father didn't take his eyes off his children. He was asking them questions and laughing and hugging with them. He asked the kids, "What do you want to do today? This is your day at the..." And we looked at, my husband and I looked at each other, and we just got to thinking, this must be a single dad that had his kids for the weekend. And he was so engaged. So the point of this, it was just a precious moment. He was connecting with his children. So the point of the story I wanted to say is that we realize that the mall can be a place where we zone out, we get away from reality, we're kind of unconsciously spending the day. So my question to all of us, and maybe we can learn from this, is, how do we shift that? How do we raise awareness that the mall actually doesn't have to be an unconscious place? It can be a great place to connect with those we love and brand new strangers we're about to meet and we could call friends. So we're going to invite you right now. I mean, Jerry, I hope that kind of clears up this idea of mall people. Mall people are the unconscious people that kind of walk around. And then you do see those jewels in the midst of it, of people that are really connecting.
Yeah, it definitely helps out. For me, since I travel so much, I did allude earlier to the fact that I honestly don't like to go to the mall. I will much sooner do my Christmas shopping online than go to the mall, especially around the Christmas season. But Debbie, for me, the mall is the airport. And you know what I mean by that?
Oh, yeah.
And you know that too, but maybe you are listeners. Maybe you travel a lot like I do and Debbie does. And sometimes, in fact, I even joke in my mind, I get off the plane, I'm going to baggage claim, and I feel like I'm walking through the mall. And so I'll jokingly say in my head, "Oh, gee, my plane just pulled up to a gate at the shopping mall," because even airports, nowadays, there's so much commercialism and all of that. But I think what Debbie is getting at, dear listeners, is just the whole notion of interacting with people and being, who God made us to be and making sure that, we are always conscious of the fact that we're on display, if you will.
Right.
People are always watching us, and of course, we are always watching them as well. So maybe you've got an experience of seeing human behavior. Maybe it was a really good experience like Debbie just shared, or maybe you've seen an unfortunate exhibit of human behavior. Again, we're not bashing people. We're just simply trying to have this conversation. Debbie, correct me if I'm wrong, so that we can all just kind of be more aware of not only our surroundings, where we are, but who we are in those surroundings.
Exactly, Jerry. Well said. And we want you to weigh in on this and share your take, because it's important for us to always be Christ-like, because people are watching and they are, observing. And that's why this topic for Friday is just perfect. We're all getting ready to go into the weekend. We've probably got chores. We probably have some shopping errands to run. We're going to be encountering the public, and maybe we can encounter the public in a different way. Now, I know, because I saw from text messaging and from Facebook, that there are a lot of people watchers out there, and you can share some amazing stories of what you observed, or even how you were observed. Maybe somebody came up to you and said, "Thank you for showing the joy on your face," or "Thank you for opening that door for me," or saying hello. I really needed to say, to talk to somebody and to connect, because we're in a day and age where cell phones and text messaging, it's such a disconnect between human beings. But to actually physically connect, this is an important topic. It's a fun topic, but an important topic. Call in right now. Share your take. Teach us at 1-800-585-9396.
Maybe you've had a similar experience to one that I had recently, and it wasn't the first time for me. I don't know if I was in an airport or just in a grocery store or what have you. Said hello to somebody, and the poor lady almost fell over. She jumped.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so startling to her that somebody had actually interacted with her. So, folks, we get so absorbed in ourselves, in what we're doing, that we kind of almost zone out of the surroundings. So again, what is your experience? Whether it was at the mall, the office, the gym, the grocery store, sitting at a traffic light, you can really observe a lot of interesting things about people, and you can actually be a very good Christian witness behind the wheel of your car as well. So we're going to get to our break right now, and we invite your takes. You can send an email at take2@ewtn.com. The website at Take2 Show on Twitter, and the phone number 1-800-585-9396. 1-800-585-9396. We're coming back to take your calls. Please join us.
Our family had been going through crisis. Little by little, we just found ourselves drifting completely away. I was afraid to go back. I mean, I cried the first time I received the sacraments again. Cried because I was back and because I had allowed God to become a part of me again. It's united our family. There's peace in our home that we didn't have before.
If you've been away from the Catholic Church for any reason, visit CatholicsComeHome.org today.
This month, the EWTN home video highlight is Fields and Faith. Athletes and sports figures of extraordinary skill and Bob Dolan as they speak about their strong Catholic faith and the important role it plays in their lives. Get your DVD set through the EWTN Religious Catalog web store, EWT.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or call 1-800-854-6316.
So good to have you with us. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. Again, your takes are always what drive the show. This is driven radio, and today we're talking about the stuff of real life, kind of people watching and how people behave. And I ask you this, too. Maybe you've got a take on this. Should we even be concerned when we're in public about what people think of us or the example or the witness that we give? I believe that we should, but I'd love to hear your take on that. I remember, Debbie, I don't know if you recall the great basketball player Charles Barkley, some years ago came out with that campaign, I am not a role model. And that started a huge conversation because, of course, this wasn't just somebody passing through a mall or an airport. This is someone who's on TV and playing basketball games in front of thousands. So, Debbie, this whole question about obligation when we're being viewed by other people, I think that's something worth talking about as well.
Well, and as Catholic Christians, our obligation clearly is to be to others of God's love and mercy and grace, and to be that shining example. It makes me think of the Beloved series, Jerry, the DVD New Catholic series, Beloved, on marriage. By the way, I have to say, Teresa Tomeo did an amazing job on that series. She shares about the analogy of an Italian sauce recipe mirroring her marriage. She was...
My. As only Teresa could.
I have to tell you, my husband rewinded it and we watched it again. Teresa was excellent, Teresa Tomeo. And Patrick Coffin, oh my goodness, everybody was just great on the series, and I would highly recommend it. But yeah, to be a witness, every opportunity is an opportunity to evangelize and to show God's love to others. If we don't, who will, Jerry? God uses us. He uses our hands and our feet and our mouths and our lives to be mirrors of what the eternal gift is going to be. And so we have to be those examples at all times. I don't think, honestly, Jerry, in this day and age, we don't really have the luxury anymore of zoning out. I believe we have to stay very aware these days, especially in the culture that we live in.
And we're going to get to your calls. Hang on one second. Just wanted to add to what Debbie said there. I think Debbie is so right. We don't have the luxury of being able to zone out, and yet I think it's harder than ever not to because of the gadgets and the electronics and just the different distractions that we have. So there's another question for you, dear listeners. How do you stay focused? How do you stay in the moment? How do you stay aware of your surroundings? Again, you don't have to wear a sandwich board up and down the street or when you go to the mall, but how do you stay kind of aware of the fact that as a son of God, eyes are on you and people are going to, in a sense, judge you by the way that you comport yourself. 1-800-585-9396. We're going to begin with James in Portland, Oregon, listening on Mater Dei Radio. James, there we go. James, we got you on the program. Thanks for calling. How are you?
Hi, good. I'm good. Jerry, I had the pleasure to meet you briefly at the recent Catholic Men's Conference in Portland.
Thanks for coming.
Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great event. Thank you for coming.
I really enjoy your show. And, sorry, my dog's barking here. I've got to go.
Oh, wait, James, that's Monday's show. So you can bring your dog back in on Monday's show.
Okay.
And by the way, this is Debbie. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, too. And I really enjoy your show.
Thank you.
So I'm calling you. I think this is a good topic for what you're talking about. I go skating over at the, I guess I can say the name, the Lloyd Center Mall here in
Lloyd
Portland.
Center, absolutely.
And, the skating rink there has become a real focus point for a lot of social activity. And there's a couple there that skates named Jerry and Tally. They skate there about 4 days a week usually. And they have been skating together for 48 years. They've been married for 43 years, I believe, or 45. And, they just have a real obvious, sweet love for each other. I know because I interviewed them. They're Christians, and they really bring that part of themselves to their performance, and so I see them quite often over there, and I often, since I've seen them skate so often, I'll watch what the people around are doing as they're skating, and it stops the whole activity of what's commercial atmosphere, and it focuses this kind of sweetness and love, and it really touches people's hearts. So that's what I wanted to tell you about. There's a potential, I think, for the mall to be a real community gathering place, but there has to be for that kind of energy other than just the shopping.
So, James, you're saying they just go and skate. They're not part of putting on performing, and they're not like hired. They just go and skate during the day sometime.
It's just they just become kind of an institution there, and they put on a performance for maybe 5 minutes, and then if there happens to be a day when kids are there, school's out, they'll help teach them a few little dances and things like that. But primarily, they're there just to skate with each other, and they have other professions that they do other than that. But it's just a real positive, energetic role model for a lot of people.
Yeah, and you know what I'm hearing as you're telling this, James, and that is they're skating with each other. They're doing a lot of things with each other, but the most important thing they're just exhibiting without really being showy about it is they're loving each other, is what it sounds like to me. And, Debbie, this is what really kind of could be the core of our conversation today is if we just exhibit love, especially with those that we're out with. You gave the examples, Debbie, of family members who are seeing it too. It just bothers me. I want to go up to a father or a mother. There's a family of 4 or 5, and they're all just doing their own thing on their gadgets and everything, and just no family interaction. But this whole witnessing of love together, in this case, as a family, I think it's a powerful witness for people.
Oh, it sure is. And I loved James's story. And thank you, James, for taking the time and calling in and sharing it, because what you shared is so true with, that's why the TV show James and Jerry, Dancing with the Stars is so popular because people love to watch when two human beings just connect. Now, when you have a husband and wife connecting, not just two strangers connecting, a husband and wife connecting, and they're dancing or they're skating or they're doing something that they have to rely on one another, they have to trust one another. There's that just beautiful bond, and it just organically manifests into something that all of us sit around and marvel at, because that's what I heard from your story, James, is that people actually are sitting and just marveling with this pure and touching display of two people who are married coming together and sharing a beautiful experience. That they didn't even have to say words. They demonstrated love. They demonstrated what it means to be connected to another human being and to be bonded. And you know what? I think that is so beautiful. It makes me think about how, dance and skating and difficult it is when couples come together and can display that just beautiful Christian bond with each other and then be that witness. Wow. It just speaks volumes. Thank you, James. You really made me think of a lot.
Yeah, James, thanks for calling us here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Please keep listening and call anytime. And thanks again for attending the men's conference a few weeks ago there in Vancouver. Our phone number, 1-800-585-9396. Jerry Usher here with Debbie Georgiani. Our topic is mall people, which, as Debbie explained early in the program, is kind of comes from her and her husband, Marty. They've had experiences in the mall of watching and seeing how people act when, and certainly as couples and as families. So what is your experience with that? Have you seen maybe an example like James just shared of just you were watching people and you thought, wow, they just look really peaceful or really, happy or joyful in their marriage or as a family. And you yourself, how do you see yourself being an example to other people in public, whether it's the mall, at work? At work is so very important for us to be a witness there, Debbie. There are so many places cognizant of this.
I remember when I was 19, I worked in a restaurant, and one of my fellow coworkers came into the kitchen after serving a family several times. It was a repeat family into the restaurant, and he came into, I remember this vividly, he came into the kitchen and he said, wow, you guys got to look at table number, whatever it was, 25. You got to look at table number 25. This family comes in every single month, and time they are laughing and giggling and telling stories, and there's just such energy around the table. And I remember him saying to all of us in the kitchen, boy, when I get married and I have a family, that's the kind of family I want. I remember that. And boy, that was like 30 years ago. Oh, I just gave my age away. There you go. But isn't that amazing? To be a witness just by our joy, just by our interaction. How awesome is that? Join in on this discussion. Share with us if you are a people watcher and you have seen, or you are maybe one of the people we've watched, and you want to share that maybe this topic is making a difference in your life. Call in right now, 585-9396.
All right, Becky, also in Oregon, listening on Modern Day Radio. We're going to get to you right after the break. We would have taken you here right after James's call, but we do have the fixed break time at 27 coming up here, and we want to make sure you have all the time that you need with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And others of you, we have a couple of lines open, 1-800-585-9396, 1-800-585-9396. Debbie, coming up on Monday, you mentioned to James, that's going to be kind of the discussion of pets. What do people have to look forward to on Monday?
Oh, this is going to be a good topic. I think it could be heated, so you might want to get ready and mark your calendars and tune in on Monday. It's why do people sometimes love their pets more than humans? That's an exciting topic, and I just know we're going to have a great discussion. But stay with us. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back to talking about people watching and mall people and join in on the discussion. But stay with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Kathy Sinnott, and I'm host of EWTN's Celtic Connections. From our studios in Ireland, we take a Catholic look at the big stories breaking in Great Britain, in Ireland, and across Europe. Celtic Connections is the only Catholic news show made in the UK. So join me every Saturday and Sunday on Celtic.
For dates and times in your area, log on to EWTN.com.
The EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
By watching EWTN, by listening to EWTN, I'm not Roman Catholic, I'm Protestant, but I have been able to spit out my shame, my guilt. I feel like I'm healed now. I've been able to work in a pregnancy center. I pray at our Planned Parenthood. I've visited Hansville. I've been to the memorial for the unborn with my mother. I can't thank the Catholic Church enough.
Hi, this is Joan Lewis. In my work here at the Vatican, I'm blessed to speak with all kinds of people every day, from visitors to Rome, to Vatican officials, even to the Pope. And every week on our EWTN program, Vatican Insider, I'll share their stories with you. We'll bring you the latest news from Rome. We'll talk with Vatican leaders and newsmakers, and we'll answer your questions. So don't miss Vatican Insider this weekend, right here on the EWTN Radio Network. For area, go to EWTN.com and click on.
Get an insider's look at the latest information from EWTN. Sign up for Wings, EWTN's weekly email newsletter. Get the latest information, live events, special features, and guests. Connect with EWTN on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Just go to EWTN.com and click on the Wings link to sign up. Don't miss a minute of all that's happening at EWTN. Get your wings today.
And this is the gathering place for you and your takes on the stuff of life. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network, talking about mall people and public witnesses and people watching and stuff like that. Please do join us with your take at 1-800-585-9396. Becky, thank you for waiting in Oregon. It's another Mater Dei radio listener. Hello, Becky.
Good morning.
Hi,
Good
Becky.
morning. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
So I just kind of wanted to look at this from the standpoint of encouraging others for a second, in encouraging the people that you observe. My children are teenagers right now, and my husband and I used to engage sarcastic criticism when we would be people watching and, laughing a lot at other people's expense. And really, this started for me long before that, but I remember kind of really being sarcastic, fun of people we saw in the mall who were, I remember specifically this one family that was, their toddlers were drinking pop out of 2-liter bottles, and I just thought, that's so horrible for them. How can you do that? And we eventually became just really convicted that we needed to look at those people through a totally different filter, and that we don't know anything about their circumstances and whatever place they're in. And when we're in that kind of sarcastic mode, we're not in a place where we would be able to have any meaningful positive interaction with them should the opportunity come up. And then later, a number of times we were eating out or traveling with our children. Actually, people came up to us. It seems like, if I remember correctly, each time it was older folks, senior citizens, but they were such an encouragement to us in saying, we've kind of watched your family as we've all been sitting here in the restaurant for the last 45 minutes, and we just wanted to say, great job, or thank you for, engaging with your kids and taking care of them. It's an encouragement to us, and it's such a good example and stuff like that. And that meant really a lot to us and has encouraged us to, to keep on trying to stay connected and do fun things with our kids and just to be aware of what people are seeing.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that out there as an encouragement to other people to say an encouraging word to other people when you see something great.
Exactly. Yeah, no, Becky, you thank you for taking that time and making the call, because I want to share just a couple things to echo what you're saying. It's kind of like people watching with compassion, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, we do a disservice to us as Christians when we do have that, I say cartoon bubble going on over our head when we're seeing people and making that instant judgment of other people. But I love what you had to say about how you shifted that and changed that. And it's really people watching with compassion. So I want to just add on to something that I didn't have at the very beginning, Jerry, if you allow me to do that. Because I think this might be important, Becky, to tail with what you're saying. When I went back to that story about the young man, the young father who was, and I get chills when I say this, so hopefully this can help somebody. When we observed that young man with his two children, the 5-year-old and the 9-year-old, afterwards we did go up to that young man. And we did ask, actually we said, boy, you just look like a great dad and your kids are just loving you. And he went and shared for about 20 minutes his story. He was a single dad and newly divorced, and it was his time with his children. And he said, and I said, I'm going to get teary-eyed. Here I go. I said I was never going to cry on this show, but anyway, he said that he has very limited time with his children, and he's not going to waste a single minute. And so he never even ate his food. He just was so into his children, and he didn't want to waste a precious second. And so you're so right, Becky. I mean, we don't know what people's walks are and what is causing them to have kind of a unconscious look on their face. And so us as Christians, if we will take that time, I think it would open up our eyes to such greater, invaluable insights into human life and behavior. So Becky, thank you so very much for imparting your wisdom. I know it helped me, and I hope it helps the thousands of others that listened right now.
Thank you, Becky, we appreciate that. Great points. And I want to add, too, that, first of all, of course, her call was just like right down the middle of what we're talking about today. But she reminded me that, a lot of my people watching or interaction, not so much talking or just being around people, has been that whole approach of, oh, look at them, look what they're doing, or look, for example, I remember seeing a mother one time. She was out, looked like with her girlfriend or something, had a child, little boy who was about 4 or 5 years old, just absolutely running, ransacking the place. It was a restaurant. She would just simply look over every now and then and say, now, don't do that, okay? And then she'd be back to her conversation with her girlfriend. And, of course, the kid is like in one ear and out the other. It just bounces off one ear, because there was just no follow-up. There was no firmness in the discipline. She didn't know how. And my initial reaction was to say, boy, she doesn't have a clue what she's doing. And that poor boy is never really going to get disciplined. And then I had to shift my thinking, like Becky was saying, and say, wait a minute, I don't know what her circumstances are.
Right.
Maybe she's parenting Debbie as she learned how. And so then it turns into a prayer. And it's like, her whatever she needs to know how to do what's best for that boy, and pray for the boy that he would have, peace and contentment and be able to be still, these kinds of things. So I think Becky that was a fantastic call, don't you think?
Oh, amazing. Becky, thank you so much for taking the time and imparting that wisdom. And another quote came in from Matt Gubinski, our call screener, who shared that Mother Teresa's quote, if you judge people, you are too busy to love them. And we can judge by words or judge by what, like we would like to say, even our thoughts. And we're not talking judging as if to say, like, you're judging if they're going to, what their eternal circumstances are going to be, heaven or hell. We're saying just judging on a human level, how we criticize or even sarcastically even think about other human beings. So thank you, Matt, for that Mother Teresa quote. Gotta love her. Mother Teresa has the best quotes, doesn't she? You can, you can.
Yeah, there's been a couple. 1-800-585-9396. Join the conversation with your take. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, 1-800-585-9396. Going to move along to Jeanette, who is in St. Augustine, Florida. Jeanette, thank you for calling the program. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I just really have a sweet story. Many years ago, when my soon-to-be husband invited me on our first date at lunchtime from our place of business to go to Mass, we were walking down a busy downtown street, and as we were walking, he gently took my elbow and moved me to the inside of the sidewalk, away from the traffic. And it was just such a tender, gentle time, just a sign of caring about me and about my safety. And I know a witness to other people, seeing that kindness, and it was certainly a witness to me. And 30 years later, he's still my guy.
Oh, Jeanette, I love that story. I mean, he was showing how to care for a woman, and that is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and that speaks volumes to so many couples that are trying. It's like if men hold doors for women, or pull out the chair, or at a restaurant, it speaks volumes to young people who are trying to learn what is the proper role of a husband and a proper role of a wife. I have to tell you, Jeanette, I have to add this, and I hope I don't embarrass you, because he is on the phone. He's listening right now. He's not on the phone. Jeanette, you're on the phone. But in addition to your story, Jeanette, I can relate, because my husband does similar things, and he actually orders for me at restaurants. Now, I do tell him what I want, because I'm very specific what I want, but he orders for me. I can't tell you how many people say, wow, men still do that? Men actually still do that. So that is so beautiful, and what a great testament. And I'm so happy that you shared that today with us on Take Two.
Thank you so much. He reminded me of my dad, and so I knew he was the one for me.
There you go.
There you go. Amen.
Well, thanks, Jeanette, for the call. We're going to go to the break. Kat, don't go anywhere in San Francisco. You will be up next. Reminds me of what our good friend Deacon Harold Berksiver says. He tells his daughters, and I hope I can get this right. He says, when he's giving talks, he says something to the effect of, I want my daughter to know the kind of man that they want to marry. He says, if I want them to know that, he says, I have to be that. I have to model that for them. So yeah, we should do a show sometime, and I'm sure we will, on the value of fathers, being witnesses, maybe even especially to their daughters, because they're going to be looking for a man, a godly, wholesome, virtuous man at some point. So here we go. We're going to get to your phone calls after the other side of the break here. Take Two with Our phone number is 1-800-585-9396. Talking about mall people, by extension, our witness in public, and how we view others out there as well. 1-800-585-9396. Join us with your take.
We were excited about getting married and starting a family right away, but I was still on the pill to regulate my cycles. Our priest asked us to take natural family planning classes. When I stopped the pill, NFP revealed that the pill was actually masking an ovarian cyst. After surgery, I'm now married and pregnant. Thank you, Father, for guiding us to NFP.
To join Human Life International in this discussion, visit truthandcharityforum.org.
I have a new love and respect for the Catholic Church, and those of you who waver in your faith, don't you dare. You stick to your guns, because that's the one thing you can hold on to. When everything else disappears around you, you say your rosary, you do what you guys do, but hang on to your faith, and don't you dare fall off the path.
Stay on God's path and listen daily to EWTN Radio.
Prayer that I recommend to you is the Holy Rosary. I am carrying an assault weapon and a 50-round clip.
We've got time to get you on the program today with your take. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN. talking about people watching, being out there in the midst of people. I do it all the time. I know Debbie does. Typically for me, it's more in airports, maybe for you. That's what we call the show Mall People today. But what about our Christian witness? How effective do you feel yours is? And it doesn't have to be a conscious thing, but I just feel like as sons and daughters of God, as followers of Christ, we really should be living in a way, just in a matter-of-fact way, that makes people, when they see us or interact with us, say, wow, they've got something, that there's something about them. I really can't put my finger on it, but whatever it is, I want what they have. So you've got time to share your take on that, 1-800-585-9396. Debbie, you've got something else you wanted to
it made me think of this. My father-in-law had this great, he was alive, he passed many years ago, but my father-in-law had this great gift. And he would be able to, he loved holding babies, and he could just make any baby just calm down and fall asleep in his arms. And boy, I can't tell you how many people in airports would literally let this stranger man hold their baby, because the way he approached it was beautiful. But I remember one time we were flying on a plane cross country, and this one mom was with her other toddler, and the baby was crying just incessantly, and people were getting so irate on the plane. And my father-in-law asked the flight attendant if he could get up and go and visit her and take her baby. This is no joke. He went up to the front of the plane and he said, ma'am, he goes, I know you might think this is crazy, but can I hold your baby? And I mean, she literally almost threw the baby at him. It was hysterical.
Please.
But it was a good throw. It wasn't a bad throw. But anyway,
right.
He literally took the baby back to the seat, held the baby for the next hour and a half. Okay, this is no joke. When he got done, and by the way, she never looked back to even check on her baby. She was so confident that she needed this stranger at the moment. And anyway, when we all got done, people clapped for my father-in-law. They clapped. And men were walking up to him, tapping him, saying, boy, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Now, granted, my father-in-law could have walked up to her and she could have said, no way, you're not going to hold my baby. I don't know who you are. But, she probably, maybe she was praying, thinking, would somebody help me? And my father-in-law stepped up. So, I agree with what Becky says. It's time for us to really shift our behavior and become that love and that caring that people can see. So I wanted to share that.
One thing I wanted to introduce into the conversation, many of our listeners hear from anyone who has experienced this at 1-800-585-9396. I don't know if this is still happening as much. I know there was kind of a trend toward the flash mobs. Debbie, you've heard of them in the malls, and I remember seeing a couple of videos. There would be, for example, Franciscan priests, and it's really beautiful to watch the videos because they're filmed from start to finish, and they sort of walk into the mall, and of course they're in their habits, and this is something else too that I think is beautiful when you talk about a public witness, when you see priests and religious in their religious garb. But Debbie, you may have seen these videos. They were walking into the mall. Hardly anybody noticing them except the occasional person that looks over and sees somebody dressed in a brown robe and going, okay, I guess he's sort of maybe a monk or something. And then all of a sudden they'll stop in the middle, like this central location in the mall,
right.
Set down like a big gym bag. They pull out the monstrance. It's got the host in it. Somebody will get out maybe a guitar or something, and pretty soon they're doing like benediction in the mall. And Debbie, by that time, you've got dozens, maybe even hundreds of people gathered around. I'm sure you've seen examples of that before.
Do you know what? Actually, Jerry, I haven't, but now you've piqued my curiosity. How can I even find something like this? I want to see it.
Well, I'm sure if you go on the internet, YouTube or whatever, just do a search for
what would
Eucharist
you search?
flash mob.
Eucharist.
And flash mobs they were kind of all the rage there for a while. Again, still being done. I've never had firsthand experience of one, but it's kind of like when a group or an organization wants to get a message out, they'll use in particular malls because they can walk in sort of unsuspected, and then pretty soon a bunch of them. I remember there was one that it was almost like an orchestra that kind of walked in. Without anybody really noticing, and pretty soon they started playing, and they've got this beautiful orchestra going in the mall.
Oh, that is so cool. I want to share this real quickly because we our show is almost getting ready to close for this beautiful Friday, and there's still time if you want to jump in and share your take on people watching. Keep in mind, people watching is a common pastime. We actually kind of do it, and we don't even realize we're doing it. So if you would like to share, we'd love to hear from you, and you can close out our show for this Friday at 1-800-585-9396. But you're going to have to hurry to the phone because I can just see one open line right now. But I want to just share this, Jerry. John Leonetti just texted me, and John Leonetti is a great gifted Catholic speaker. He's just amazing, talented man, and I would encourage you to look John Leonetti up. But he said to me, and I asked him permission if I could use this, and he said, I tried ordering for my wife once when she was in the bathroom, and I messed up so bad, she never allowed me to do it again. Well, okay, so John, if you're still listening, which I think you are, I think it was just so admirable that you did order, and I'm sure your wife totally appreciates it. And you know what, guys, I would encourage husbands and people that are guys that are dating and courting. If you do mess up being a gentleman, keep trying again. Don't give up, because down deep, for the most part, us women, we love that. We love that beautiful, strong gentleman way of caring for a woman, and it makes us feel great. It makes us feel precious, and I think it's beautiful. So, gentlemen, keep trying, because that is a great gift never to lose. So thank you, John Leonetti, for sharing your take on it.
John's with Iowa Catholic Radio. We're going to post, by the way, Jeff Burson, our social media expert. I just provided him with a link to one of the Eucharistic flash mobs. For those who haven't seen it, this is on a downtown street. I think it's some other part of the world, but it's absolutely fantastic. You're going to love it. We had dropped Kat in San Francisco, but we've got her back. Kat, welcome. Gary and Debbie, thank you for calling back. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, Kat.
Hi, Debbie. So I wanted to say that I've recently sort of developed this radar for large families in public. I just can't get enough of them when I see it almost exclusively just families. They're either the traditional Jewish with I forgot what the hats are called, that they have, you see all the boys and the father wearing that public, and they have like 6 kids, or the Muslims are out, the mother is in full garb, and she has all of her kids, or the Catholics here at church, and it just really touches me to see these people who, like, you never see large families, probably not at a mall. I can't say I've seen it at a mall, but walking down the street or hanging out at the park. And I just feel like I want that, I want more kids, as many kids as God will give me. I have 2 little ones under 2 right now that just take my entire day and can be so tiring. But when I see that, I feel like I have more energy and I have more love to share.
Wow, Kat. Yeah, amazing. I feel the same way. And I think you were referring to when our Jewish families have the yarmulkes on their heads, and that's what you're referring to. And I couldn't agree more. I love watching big families. There is the dynamics that are going. I'm from a big family, 6 kids. I'm the youngest of 6, and I believe, Jerry, you're the oldest boy of how many?
Second oldest boy of 5, yeah.
Of 5, right. And my husband's from a large family as well, 7. And it's fascinating to watch the dynamics and that spreading of love and how parents, I always marvel at this. Kat, let me ask you this question. Don't you marvel at the fact how parents just multiply their love amongst all these children, and it doesn't seem like they run out of love?
Well, even more than that, it's like they infuse each one with that ability, and it just sort of is a ripple effect through the family. You see the older kids taking care of the younger kids, and the younger kids just look at their brothers and sisters like they're superheroes.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a beautiful show yesterday, when parents have lost a child to death, and we had one gentleman call in. He didn't lose a child, he lost his brother, and he was talking about just the horrible impact that it had on him, because he just really, like you said, Kat, he had that relationship with his brother, and it's just a beautiful thing. The other day, I was out of town staying in a hotel, and a young couple started coming down the stairs of the hotel as I was going up to my room, and here's Dad, he's got a child, and here's Mom with a child, and 3 or 4 more children coming down the steps. I looked to her, I said, "You have a beautiful family." And Debbie and Kat, she just looked at me like, "Thank you." Yeah, but we don't. I don't know that they probably don't hear that a lot, I guess is the whole moral of that story. Kat, thank you. We're up against the end of the program here. Bless you. Keep listening there in the Bay Area, and call us anytime on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Oh, Kat, we're so glad you called in. Thank you so much. Okay, so don't forget, Monday. This is an exciting topic. Wait, my takeaway is I'm going to continue to people watch. I'm going to people watch with compassion, and I'm going to take the time to be a Christian witness. Your takeaway, Jerry?
Yeah, my takeaway is I think Becky helped me realize maybe a little less judgmental. Again, like you said, Debbie, not of one's eternal destiny, but just, for example, my pet peeve is people who will go to the coffee, stand in line for the coffee at the airport, they drink the coffee and just leave the cup on the floor. I've mentioned this on the show before. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, don't worry, somebody else will come along and pick that up. And, I tend to be critical of that when I need to just... Instead, I need to go over and pick it up and put it in the trash. That's what I need to do.
But you do, Jerry. I've seen you do it. Honest to goodness, you walk along the mall and you'll pick up trash all the time.
You'd think I worked at the mall.
No, I know. Oh, my goodness. Well, now I can get to Monday. Okay, so dear listeners, join us Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern on Take Two as we explore why it is that so many people love their pets more than humans. So until then, drop us a note at take2show.com or on Facebook or on Twitter at Take2Show. Well, this is for Jerry Usher and Debbie Georgianni. We pray you have a blessed and beautiful weekend. See you Monday.